Okay, so the last thing we learned about was pedigrees and karyotypes. So the thing you have to remember is circles are female, squares are male. If they're shaded, they're colored. If you've got a vertical line, the horizontal line means that I'm married. The vertical line means that I have children. Okay, so if I look at this pedigree, look at first, does it skip a generation? And you see that I have colored in at every location. So that would mean that it has to be a dominant trait. The next thing I want you to look at is, do you see a father passing it to his son? And from here to here, I see a father passing it to its son. So that means it has to be autosomal, because if it was sex-linked, the father could only pass it to his daughters. So that's how you could label and determine patterns of inheritance. So let's say I wanted to know what is the genotype, not genotype, but what is the sex of individual 2? So here's generation 2. Here's individual 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Don't worry about these numbers here. So 1, 2, that would be a girl, right? Okay, so let's do the next one. All right, so on our next one, we've got unaffected is blue, affected is red. So if I look at this, the first thing I want to see is, do I see it in every generation? And you do. If you notice, when it's passed on in every generation. So that makes this dominant. And then the next thing, do I see a father passing it to his son? Yes. So that makes it autosomal. So the last thing that we can do with pedigrees is we can look at determining genotype. So let's say that you can tell that this has to be a recessive trait. One of the reasons why, it skips this generation here. So what would be the genotype of that individual? Let's just use A. So this would have to be little a, because it's a recessive. All right. What would be the genotype here? It'd have to be little a. So in order for these to produce a child that has it, they would have to be heterozygous. So I can go ahead and label the rest of these with a big A. Okay. Well, you know that these right here have to have little a's, because the only thing the mom can donate is a little a. Now, we can't really say this dad could either been that or he could have been that. Since we don't have any kids that have it, it's hard for us to say for sure. But that's how we can determine genotypes. All right, the last thing I want to look at is karyotypes. And karyotypes are charts of an individual chromosome. The first thing you need to remember is right here, this is where I determine the sex. If I have 2 X's, then I am a girl. If I have an X and a Y, I'm a boy. All right, the ones that I wanted you to remember. Okay, first of all, if I see an extra 21st, this is going to give me Down syndrome. Okay, anytime I see an extra 21st, I have Down syndrome. All right. The next one I want you to look at, let's say that I have XXY. If you see XXY, that is Klinefelter's. All right. And then the last one that you needed to know, and this is going to be hard to do this, is let's just say I was missing this X here. If I'm missing an X, that is Turner syndrome. So those are the 3 syndromes that you had to remember.